One. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Back to Bits podcast, the retro gaming podcast from the Gamers Lounge. My name is John Meadows. With me, as always, is D-Pad Danny. What is up, Danny?
Not too much, man. How you doing?
Oh, I've been better, but I'm heavily medicated, and I'm in a chair sitting straight up with lots of pillows behind my back. But other than that, I'm great.
Well, at least you're propped up.
Yeah,
That's the important thing.
I am definitely propped up because you will never see me set probably this straight for this long without some help. But that's okay. But no, I wanted to get back in the groove of trying to, when we had the chance every week to do a pod, or every other week to do a podcast. I wanted to to do it, so I went to the doctor yesterday, got some medicine, and I'm good to go. So
Awesome, man.
I feel a little weird, but that's okay. So, but we'll start like we always do with any pickups. I want to start with you, Danny, because I see you got Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast.
I did.
I love that game.
Dude, it's a really good game.
It is.
I didn't play the original Outrun until I got a Master System, of course, but I didn't have one growing up or anything like that. I just, watching YouTube and stuff, I know that it's a beloved series, and I can see why. It's fun, and that's one that looked really good.
Yeah.
Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast on PS2, and I happened to stumble across it at my local game store, and I'm like, yep, I'm definitely getting that.
Yeah.
So
I have it on PSP, and I have it on Xbox, original Xbox. It's probably one of my favorite Outrun games. Maybe,
dude, the music is so damn good in that game.
Yeah, it's so true to the original feel that I like it. I wish they'd make it backwards compatible on the Xbox. I would love to see it running on the Xbox One. But I mean, it looks great on the 360 and the regular Xbox. The only one that I like maybe a touch better is Outrun 2 that came out on Xbox, but for some reason that game has skyrocketed in price.
How much is it going for now?
You know what? Let me check. Last time I checked, it had went to some crazy, I want to say like $80-some.
Oh wow!
It was like
that's complete in box or
yeah.
complete in case.
Well, it went when I was working at Matt's. It was like $20, and there was it looks like the prices went back down. It's Coast to Coast that's on Xbox that is crazy now.
Really?
Yeah, it looks like Outrun Coast to Coast on Xbox is about $108.
Jeez, the PS2 one it only cost me $26.
Loose, according to price charting, now take it with a grain of salt. Some people put a lot of grain in, a lot of into it, not a lot into it. This is what I go by most of the time. Yeah,
it's a good ballpark baseline it with nothing else.
It looks like it got all the way down loose July 2016 to $8.50, and then in August it shot up to $28, and in November 61, and it's just stayed in the 70s. Loose.
And you said that's the Xbox version of Coast to Coast?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Now you look on price charting, and like you said, the PlayStation 2 version's like $22. Let's see, PSP version's about $18, and Outrun 2 on the Xbox is $18.35. Maybe that's what I have. Maybe I have Outrun 2, and I don't have Coast to Coast on the Xbox. Maybe I've got them backwards. Always got those two confused. They came out not long after each other on Xbox, but Outrun 2 was Xbox only.
Well, I mean, and also they put that Coast to Coast because it's the number 2.
Yeah.
So that just further confuses. Is this an expansion? Is this an Ultimate Edition of that game?
My understanding is the Outrun Coast to Coast on the original Xbox was a limited release.
Okay.
Let's see, April 2006, and let me see when 2 came out, because I know it's real close to that. October 2004, yeah, within 2 years. So, and if it came out in 2006, that's I think that's around about when the Xbox was.
Maybe that's why it was limited productions.
Yeah, it was
maybe it was one of the last games on it.
Yeah, I think so. But like I said, it wasn't too long ago that game was super cheap, and I wished I'd bought it when I was working at Matt's when it was
Sure.
super cheap. But
Well, the PS2 version is really good as well, so you can get that relatively cheap for a
I
consolation.
love the PSP version, and I can hook I've got the Capote cables to hook the PSP up to the TV, so I can actually
Nice.
play it like that if I want. I actually, even though my PSP is soft modded, but I actually do have a real copy of it. I don't have the box or anything, but I do have the disc. I think
Right.
I know I have the disc. I don't know if I got the box or so. I don't. I have a lot of. I have several PSP games. I just don't have cases for them because nobody kept the boxes. They throw them all away. I don't understand why people do that. I think we've talked about this before.
Because it's a portable console.
I guess
the boxes are always going to be harder to get because people throw them out and put them in their little fancy carrying cases.
I met a woman when I was when I got the upgraded Michael Jackson Moonwalker, and we were talking about cases, and she said all my kids. She goes, all our 360 games are not in cases; they're in CD binders, and we just throw the cases away because it's easier for the kids to to mess with than messing with boxes. And I'm like, no, I think I would teach them the responsibility of putting something back in a box.
If you're done with it, put it back. Like, don't let me see a face down disc laying on the end of the entertainment center.
Yeah, really.
You better put this back.
I don't know, but I don't have kids, so I can't say what I would do. They probably wouldn't touch it without supervision anyway. But I don't know. Yeah. But anyhow, yes, Coast to Coast is a awesome game. It is one of my favorite PSP games. I love it.
I've only played it a little bit, but I already love it. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's super cool. What else have you picked up? Anything else cool?
Well, I picked up a copy of The Conduit for the Wii.
That's a good game. That's a very underrated game.
It definitely is. I was excited about it when I was following it before it had released, and I got it at release. Yeah. And at some point, I traded it in. When I was trading stuff in, so I could afford the next game or whatever. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I picked it up for like $7. I'm looking forward to playing through it again. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was one of the Wii games that was a Wii only game that I really, really liked. And I remember the second one came out, but I don't remember if I played it or if it just wasn't as good as the first one. I can't remember.
Yeah. See, I didn't play the second one, and I completely forgot that it even existed until I was talking to my best friend the other day. I was like, yeah, I got another copy of The Conduit because he had played it when it was new as well. And he's like, oh, yeah, the second one was good, too. Yeah. It's like, oh, wait, yeah, I forgot there was a second one.
Yeah, I remember the second one. But that was when I was working at GameStop, so I kind of remember those era games coming out. But yeah, The Conduit was actually really, really cool. I would like to have seen... Did that come out digitally on the Wii U?
I don't believe it did.
I don't think it did. I was going to say, I know a lot of times with the digital games on the Wii U, they actually, some of the games you don't have to use the motion controls. You can use the Pro Pad, and Xenoblade is like that. If you buy the digital copy, you can use regular controls. You don't have to use the nunchuck and the remote and wave it around and all that kind of stuff. I would like to see that game kind of like that. But I think I played it with I think I had a gun adapter.
Sure. Yeah, it had like the joystick in the back.
Yeah. I'm going to put an adapter on that. And you got something else that I know you sent me a picture of that is not retro yet. Maybe in a couple of years it will be, the way things are talking, the way people are talking.
No. But honestly, this is one of the first times I can say that I own 2 current gen consoles. Not counting PC because that's a given. Right, yeah. But I got a PS4. I got a gold slim 500 gig PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What games did you get for it? Anything cool?
Well, when I first picked it up, I didn't get any games.
Yeah.
I waited until the next trip. I sold some of my amiibos and stuff that I just was trying to declutter, some extra consoles and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I had some store credits, so I picked up a few games, and I got King's Quest, the new one, the episodic.
Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
I got that one. I got Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, which has Mega Man 7, 8, 9, and 10, which this will be my first time playing 9. I own 10 on my Wii U, and I own 7 on SNES, and I own 8 for PlayStation, but I haven't played 9 yet, so this is my first time playing that one. And I also picked up Far Cry 4 for the wife.
Yeah, a lot of people like the Far Cry games. I'm not a big Far Cry fan, but...
I don't. It seems like too much game when it's that open for me, but... I mean, I don't know. I might get around to checking it out at some point.
Yeah, you might like it. I'm not a big Far Cry fan, so it's like, really, a lot of the games that I like on the PS4 anymore, of course, the Yakuza games, and Yakuza 6 just came out.
Right.
I like they remastered Valkyria Chronicles and put it on the PS4. That game is beautiful on the PS4.
Yeah, I have it for the PS3, and I've played it briefly. But even on the PS3, it's just a gorgeous game. The aesthetic is just really pleasing.
Yeah, on the PlayStation 4, it's even better. I don't have a ton. Looking back, I've got I got mostly Disney Infinity, Skylanders, and it looks like Japanese RPGs. Yeah, Yakuza, Fallout. That's really not a Japanese game. I bought the Batman. I like the Batman games, so I bought those remastered on the PS4. Those look really cool.
With the Arkham games?
Yeah, the Arkham series. I can't remember what else I've got. I've got all kinds of stuff. I got more digital than I have physical because a lot of times we get review codes, so I have a lot of those games that we got for review, and then where I pay for PS Plus, I have a bunch of free games from PlayStation on my account. I don't have all of them downloaded, but I have some of them on my account. So I have a clutter of games. Assassin's Creed Origin. Black Flag is pretty cool if you haven't played.
I've heard really good things about Black Flag.
Yeah, and you should be able to get it pretty cheap now.
I'd imagine so.
But
it's been out for a number of years now.
Black Flag is probably my second favorite one next to 2.
I think 2 is typically the fan favorite, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, really, I think it's Brotherhood. A lot of people like Brotherhood a lot better because it added that multiplayer part to it. I like the story in 2 a lot better than I did in Brotherhood. But the ship-to-ship combat in Black Flag was fun as crap, and I highly recommend playing that game. Everybody says that Origins is really good, too. It's one of those games I bought, but I have not yet played. I've got several PS4 games like that I've bought, and I just haven't played them yet because I just been playing other things and the Switch and stuff like that. It's hard for me to go back and bop from system to system. Sometimes I get caught up with 2 or 3 other things. But yeah, so it's cool. I'm glad you got a PS4. It's a good time to get it. There's a lot of good games coming out, and a lot of them are cheap.
Right, and that's something else to consider when I go to a game store. I have a whole other library of games. Like I want to get Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 because now it's questionable on if it's even going to release for the Switch, which is unfortunate, at least in the US anyway. Yeah. Now it's just kind of to be determined. I want to get that one, and I think I want to get Abzu for my wife because that one looks kind of similar to Journey, and I think she'd really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that would be a good one too. Just don't get your wife Destiny if she likes those kind of first-person shooters. Don't go Destiny.
She's playing it on her PC right now. So. Well, she really liked the first one, and we only had it on PS3 because we didn't have a PS4, and it wasn't on PC. And then one day they did the update for the most recent expansion for it, and they just dropped PS3 support. Yeah. She went to play it, tried to update it, couldn't, and that was the last time she was able to play.
Yeah.
So when Destiny 2 came out on PC, I had to get it for her.
Yeah. I bought Destiny 2, spent $100 on it, played it for about 3 days, and then I was done. I was kind of disappointed with it, but she didn't get to experience all that other content that came out on the the PS4 or the Xbox One. So I get that. Some of that's still kind of new to her. To me, I think it was almost 700 hours into Destiny 1. And I think I just burned myself out on it. By the time Destiny 2 come out, it was just like, I don't even care. But and then all my friends kind of went, we don't care anymore either. So we moved on. So, but I actually did pick up a few games. Well, I say I picked up. A friend of mine picked up quite a few of them before I even, I haven't had to do much work other than send him money. But
good way to go.
Yeah, it's not too bad sometimes. I'm all right with that. He went to a yard sale last weekend, and he picked up a bunch of Genesis games and PlayStation 2 and original Xbox games. And he sent me a message. He didn't want any of the Genesis games, and he wanted to know if I wanted them. I said, sure. Or send me a picture, and I'll look at them. And they were all complete in box with instructions and everything. It was Altered Beast, Clax, 688, Attack Sub, Cyberball, Marble Madness, and Burning Force. And there weren't any really. They weren't, to me. They weren't stellar titles. Burning
Yeah,
Force.
there's not really much in there that stand out.
Burning Force it goes for about $40. You know, it's a higher end mid tier game complete, and it's actually,
Sure.
I don't know if you'd call it. It feels a lot like Space Harrier on a speeder bike to me. And I liked that game. It was pretty cool. But I said he had a bunch of sports titles in there and stuff like that. So I gave him those 6 games, and I asked him. I said, "How much does this guy want for them all?" He said, $16. I said, "Okay, take them all, and I'll pay you.
Why not?
Yeah, I'll send you money and shipping, and I'll pay for the shipping, and you can get them here to me." I mean, I remember playing Cyberball. It was a copy of Altered Beast with the original cover. I thought I had a Sega Classics cover. I don't know if you ever saw those. They were like re-released in the 90s, and they had like a small clip art of the original, and then it was like a blue box with, I don't have one right here next to me, or I would show you. They were very weird looking. I thought that's what I had, Altered Beast. So I was like, well, my buddy wants a copy of Altered Beast, so I'll sell it to him. It actually was a regular copy just like this. I didn't even remember what version I had. But it had a black and white manual, and this one has a color. So
Nice.
if it's any consolation. So
That's an upgrade.
yeah, so I got that, and then a couple weeks, and this guy had tons of stuff. He had Master Systems, Genesis Systems, Coleco, Atari. He had a box, probably bigger than the box behind you, full of just Atari games, and a television, with boxed in television games in it and everything like that. And he was practically, I don't want to say giving them away, but I mean they were pretty cheap.
He was not trying to make a profit.
No, and the guy, my buddy, well, it's Eric that I do the other podcast with. He actually told his friend, said, "Hey, I've got I just come from a yard sale. It's here. They have a bunch of stuff if you want it." And he went up there, and I think he bought the Master System, the Genesis, the Intellivision, some games, and I think he paid $60 for the whole thing. I mean,
Nice.
yeah, I mean, it was super cheap, and you just don't always stumble across stuff like that, especially around here.
If you find a big console lot, you got to jump on that.
Yeah. Well, and then he had he stumbled onto another yard sale the week before, and got a N64 lot that had 17 games, the manuals for the games, 2 controllers, 2 rumble packs, 2 expansion packs, the system, all the hookups. I think he paid $50 for it.
Damn.
Yeah. So two of the games were the gold Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask with the instruction books, and they were still in the plastic bag that they came in, just no box. So he gave me a really good deal on those, since you got such a good deal on everything else, and sold the other stuff for 10 times what he paid for the lot. So he gave me those for $40 with the manuals.
Oh wow, that is a really good deal.
Yeah, and I wasn't concerned about getting the manuals, because now it's like, oh crap, now I've got the manuals, I've got the plastic sleeves they're in. Now I'm going to have to buy boxes for them, I guess. Might as well just go ahead and hunt down the boxes for them at some point.
It's either put the other stuff up and store it card only, or the set.
So I sold my buddy I had the gray copy of Ocarina of Time, which, those are really I only have like maybe 5 games for the N64, and it's Ocarina of Time and I think Mario World and a couple other games. I'm not a big N64 fan, but I have the gold console, so I really had been wanting the gold cartridges to go with them, because I just thought it would be really cool to have.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's all gold.
It's just so regal.
Yeah, so so I got those, or he's got a big box. He lives out in Washington State, so he has a big box that he's got to ship out to me sometime with a bunch of stuff in it. But that's okay. I'm trading work for some of it. He sent me a Super NES that needs recapped, so I have tore it all apart, and I'm going to attempt to put new capacitors on it and see how that goes.
Best of luck with that. Let me know how that goes, because I have 4 Super Nintendo consoles over here that don't work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, awesome. I'm pretty good about, believe it or not, I'm pretty good about figuring out. I got lucky. One person I bought a Super NES off of, they were like, you put a cartridge in, it just has a black screen. I can't figure out what's wrong with it. I'll sell it to you for $10. I'm like, okay. Got it home, took it apart, took the pins out, cleaned them with a toothbrush in and out on board, plugged it back in. It's worked ever since. Every once in a while, it'll start to glitch out again. I'll just take it apart, clean it, put it back together, and then it works. So
I have one that's possessed.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yep. It's possessed. I was testing it out, and I put in a copy of Darius Twin, and I turned it on, and without me doing anything, it would load the stage, just the background, and then it would close the stage, and then it would do the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one, and it would beat the game by itself.
Okay,
because eventually it would hit the credits. I'm gonna have to plug it in on stream one day and see if it still does it.
Yeah, that would be
that was
awesome.
Just the damnedest thing.
Yeah, you got to get video proof of that and archive it because
I mean, I did it with my phone at some point, but I don't know where I posted it, what I did with it. Man, you know,
that's hilarious. But it's like I'm going to recap it. I think there's only 11 caps in it. I'm not. It's and it's a first. It's a launch console. I can tell because it has the separate chip for sound. I actually had to pull it off. But it has some kind of metal case around it. I'm not going to try to pry that off and recap that little thing. I'm not going to mess with it. It's fine. But hopefully that'll take care of his problems. And then I've got a Saturn that doesn't work. Well, it works, but the CD drive's going bad, so I had to crank the pot up on it to make it read discs again. So eventually it's going to burn out. So we use those. I always use those to read burn games since they're about on their last leg anyway.
Sure.
That way I don't ruin a good system. So I've got one of those that he wants to tinker with. So I'm going to send him I'm going to send him that and a PlayStation 2 that I have that I don't want to mess with it. I got in a lot of stuff, so I'm going to send it to him as well. So we trade back and forth like that all the time. So. But he finds them out in Washington State where he's at. There's a lot of game collectors and there's a lot of game people who sell games at the yard sales for stupid prices. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the West Coast in general is a lot more. There's a lot more stuff over there.
Yeah, I think so. And the other game I got the other day, I saw a listing on Facebook, and a guy was asking $60 for Chrono Trigger. And I went, all right, I really don't have $60, but I'll bite. Just to see. I kind of figured it was one of those situations where it was gone already, so he probably just hadn't taken the post down. And he sent me back a message, said, yeah, I still got it. If you want it, $60. I went, okay. So it's still, I drove an hour to go pick it up. The whole time I'm going.
Yeah, for $60 Chrono Trigger?
Yeah. Well, around here, you have to travel an hour about for anything, so it's not really out of the question. But so I went out, got it, brought it home, opened it up. Sure enough, it was a real copy of Chrono Trigger for $60. Label's in good shape. And that's one of those games that I thought I never tried to get because most people know what they have and they don't. They
I think
want
that
dollar
one
for
still
it.
goes for like 100 to 120, doesn't it?
Yeah, somewhere around in there, depending on who you ask and condition and stuff like that. But I mean, this was in really good condition. And he had a lot of nice other games. He had a Zelda, Link to the Past with the manual, the map, the inserts, and the box. But the box wasn't put together; it was folded flat. He wanted $50 for it. And I almost got it too, but it's like I don't even have $60 right now. I'm really going out on a limb to get this. I'm calling in favors from my buddy who still owed me money for games, and I'm like, okay, you need to come pay me now because I've got.
I can't pass up on this.
Yeah, I can't pass up on it, so I need it now. But I got to look and found him on Let Go, the Let Go app. And he had them all listed there, too. So I could go through and look and see what he sold. And he sold a copy of Earthbound for $50.
That one hurts.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
That still goes for like $160, if I'm not mistaken. I know at one point it was up to $200, but it's gone down a bit.
Well, and I met him there. And there was actually another guy that met him. We all met at the same place. There was 3 of us there, and I said, I don't know how I missed it. I wished I'd have seen your copy of Earthbound. I said, or I would have bought that too. And it was from a local video store, so it had stickers on it, and it was a little dirty and things like that. And he was like, well, that's what I said. He was like, well, I didn't figure anybody would want it even for $50 because it was so dirty. And I'm like, dude, I would have taken it for another $60 or $70. I mean, if you'd have had it, I was like, I would have took it.
Right.
But, it was one of those things where I found him on Facebook. I didn't find him on Let Go. A lot of times on Let Go, you have to be very specific about what you search for. Sure. And I may put Nintendo in there, but not all Nintendo stuff shows up. Sometimes you have to, if they don't put Nintendo game or Earthbound Nintendo or something like that, you have to search that specific name of what you're looking for. And I don't always have time to sit there and search every freaking game that I could possibly think of. Of course, now I do, but it's
yeah.
It's like,
but I will in the future.
Yeah, I will now, but yeah, I was
still $60 for a Chrono Trigger, man.
Yeah,
you can't beat that.
I was very happy with that. That's my top cap limit on what I'll pay for a game, unless it's something just absolutely super rare and I happen to have the extra money laying around. But most of the time, $60 is my max. Now, I may buy a lot that's $200.
Sure, but you can piece it out, make your money back.
Yeah,
put whatever
exactly.
You can back in your collection.
I can piece it out and stuff like that. Now, as far as going with just a single game, I would never. I won't say I'll never. I probably wouldn't pay $150 for it or $120 for it. But it all depends on the situation too and what the finances look like at the time. So,
sure.
Never say never, but I probably wouldn't. Yeah. So, we have tons of news. This is going to be the topic this week. I know usually we have like maybe 1 or 2 points of news, and then we have a little topic to talk about. But this week there was so much news that came out from the Sega fan thing over in Japan last weekend that there's so much to talk about that it had to be discussed. And I know a lot of people probably have heard it out the wazoo.
Sure.
But the big news that came from that, I was watching the thing live. Sega live streamed it on their Twitch page, but there was no subtitles. There was no interpreter. It was just pure Japanese language, and I didn't understand anything that they were saying. All I could tell was the pictures, and and then when the gentleman from Sega of Europe got up on stage and actually was talking, I knew what was going on and what he was saying. He announced that Shenmue 1 and 2 HD is coming for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, what a lot of people are thinking that this is a remaster. It is not a remaster. It is just simply a HD upgrade of the original 2 Shenmue games, which I'm fine with. I don't need a huge remaster. I've played these games enough that I don't need to see them in sparkling, some kind of restructured thing. But to be able to get Shenmue 1 and 2 out before Shenmue 3, at least we hope before Shenmue 3 comes out, will be a good thing. It's set for 2018. It doesn't say anything about, exact date. There are some updates that they're doing to it. They're doing an interface update. You can choose a modern controls or classic controls. What's really cool about it is, for the first time ever, you can choose either Japanese or Japanese or English audio. That's something that you could not do in the games on the Dreamcast because there wasn't enough room to store both versions. Both packs of audio, which is why if you watch any of my Shenmue streams, I play the undubbed version that takes the Japanese voiceover and puts it back on a PAL copy and puts subtitles on it and things like that. There's workarounds to it, but it's a lot of workarounds. But the Steam page is up. There is even, if you look, I think maybe Sega Bits has it. I don't remember. There is even the Steam achievements are out, so you can see what the achievements are in the game if you're a trophy hunter. But it has fully scalable screen resolution, so you can play it, I believe, my understanding is you can play it in 4x3 or you could play it in 16:9, and it will be a true ratio of 16:9, so it won't be stretched out and your dude everything's squatty and things like that. But that's about the most. It is in 1080p, so it will have upscaled resolution, but that's about it. They're not doing a whole lot of,
tweaks
tweaks.
They're pretty much just putting it through a filter.
Pretty much, and you know what? I'm fine with that. I am okay with that.
And it's smart to do it at this time, like you said, before Shenmue 3 comes out, because this will raise awareness to people who might have been curious about the series but don't want to jump into the third installment. If they release 1 and 2 remastered, they're more likely to check it out, and if they like it, they're going to buy the third one.
Right. And remastering these games, these are huge games, and they take a lot of time to remaster. So, and my understanding, too, was one of the whole reasons why there was the company that did the engine for the games are not in business anymore, so they couldn't go and get the engine again and redo it from the ground up. They would have to. This seems to be the only way that they were actually going to be able to do anything with it. But yeah, it's $30 to get both games.
That's a good budget title price.
Yep, or is it $40? I think it's $30.
Either way, that's going to make it more tantalizing for people curious about it.
I think it was 30 though. I think it was 15.
What is that? That's that's on Steam.
It is on Steam, but there's no price on Steam. But they announced it on Twitter how much it was going to cost.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was what Steam was saying.
No. $29.99. Okay, I thought it was $15. It equated to $15.
Yeah, it's essentially the same. Yeah.
So $29.99, which is pretty awesome. I will at that price. I will buy it on Xbox One and PS4. Just to have it.
Sure.
Sega said there will not be a collector's edition, so all these people out there who are hoping for a collector's edition, there will not be a collector's edition.
See, that just proves that they're doing this mostly for advertising for the third one, because they don't want to put a ton of money into it, but they want to make a nice affordable package to set up.
Well, and I'd also be curious down the road to hear how much pressure maybe Sony put on them. If Sony put any money behind it, because Sony is the one who funded quite a bit of Shenmue 3. Sega actually has nothing to do with Shenmue 3. They just gave Yu Suzuki their blessing to use Shenmue and go with it.
Right.
They did the Kickstarter, but I think PlayStation, I think Sony has a quarter interest in the game. They actually are the ones publishing it. That's why all these people online are like, we want Shenmue 3 on Xbox One. It's not going to happen right now because Sony is publishing it. Now, down the road, it may change, but...
Well, I mean, I think that's good for the industry. I think that, the exclusives are good. They're healthy. They keep the supply and demand and the requirement for there to be multiple system companies. It keeps it afloat.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and
it's necessary.
And this is a game that Sega would have never been able to afford to do themselves, which is why they never did it. So I'm fine with Sony doing it. They're putting it out on PC, so all the Xbox people who want to play it but have a gaming PC can play it there. I know it's not the same, but one of the most requested things, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, is they're hoping that maybe the saves will carry over from 1 and 2 because they do in the original game. They're hoping maybe somehow that save from 2 will carry over to 3. I don't know if it'll do that or not, but I know a lot of people have asked that question, and they've kind of been no, but maybe, but no.
It's kind of ambiguous about it.
Yeah, it is kind of ambiguous. So, but we'll see. So that was the first big news from FES. The second big news was the Sega Genesis Mini was announced. It came out with a little Mega Drive in his hand. It looked a lot like the Super NES or NES Classic. It'll be out this year for the 30th anniversary of I think it's 30 years of the Genesis. I think it's the anniversary. I can't remember. It's a while. 30 or 35. I don't remember. But there's no release date other than it's going to be this year. There's no price set. The bad thing about it is At Games is handling the production of the system, and they claim it'll have updated technology as well as a new emulator.
Like, I don't know. I don't know why they're still clinging to At Games. They've made a couple plug and play consoles for them. I have one that's awful. I have the little small one that takes cartridges but also has the 40 games.
Yeah.
It looks like everything was put through an additional pixelation filter. Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
I have the handheld. I have the very first little handheld one, and it's not great. It plays games off the SD card, but it doesn't play all games. And it's okay, but the sound's a little off.
Sure, a little tinny maybe.
Yeah, but what's interesting about this one is there's some pictures out there from the video that they did, and if you when it's turning, if you stop it at a certain point, it looks like there's an SD card slot in the side of it, which At Games, I don't know. I would love to see Sega do this in-house. Let M2 do it. And it will be true to the original Genesis in every way, shape, and form.
Sure.
Just give me a little classic. People have been asking, does it play cartridges? And they're like, well, you might be surprised. You'll just have to wait and see. Don't play cartridges. I don't want it to play cartridges. No. I don't need it to play cartridges.
See, they've been trying to take advantage of this market that, I don't want to say Nintendo has created, but Nintendo has perfected with these retro throwback consoles. Yeah. And they've tried it like 3-4 times now since the announcement of the original NES Classic, and they've all been bad. And I don't know why Sega's still allowing At Games to handle it. I mean, maybe they have some joint stock opportunities or something. I mean, but I don't know. I agree with you though. If they did it in house or something, then it would be so much better. It'd be truer to it, like you said.
And it's one thing to go with a company and have something done, but this is supposed to be your 30th anniversary console. This is supposed to be this is supposed to be your NES or Super NES too. It's not supposed to be that crappy stuff that you could buy at Dollar General for
pop off with your fingers.
I don't know. We'll see when more information comes out about it. It's still very early to place judgment, I guess, but we'll see what
They're
it.
out.
Yeah, we'll let it
the
see
reputation.
How it goes. Yeah, it's just the whole reputation. Once it came out that it was a reputation or who it was, everybody's expectations went. It's just like done. So, and then the third thing that came out at the FES, and let me tell you something. That was too late at night to have 3 big announcements because I couldn't go to sleep afterwards. They announced that that Sega Ages would be coming out for the Switch. Now, this is not like a compilation disc that is coming out. These are going to be eShop downloads like the ones that were on the 3DS. They're going to be handled by M2, which is outstanding because they did all the 3D re-releases of the Genesis games on the 3DS, and they were awesome.
I didn't play any of those.
They were very true. If you have a 3DS, right? Or a 2DS? Go get you the Sega collection for it. It's all of them on one cart. I think you can buy it for less than $20 now. It is outstanding. They were so cool and so much like the original that it just blows your mind. What's cool about it is they announced 5 games: Alex Kidd in Miracle World, Phantasy Star, Sonic the Hedgehog, Game Ground, and Thunder Force 4.
Game Ground's a lot of fun, and that's the arcade version, if I'm not mistaken. That's not the Genesis version.
That's not the Genesis version. It's the arcade version of Game Ground. And Thunder Force 4 is not the Genesis version of Thunder Force. It is the Saturn version of Thunder Force, which is a better looking game and a better playing game. You can actually... the rumor is that with that being the Saturn version, the Saturn port of Thunder Force, that there is a chance that there may be more Saturn games come to the Switch in this.
That would be pretty cool. The Saturn is a great system. It's got a lot of good games, but it's extremely expensive. That's what keeps people from playing them.
Oh, yeah. I only have... I think I've got 20 Saturn games, and it's the most expensive section in my collection. I think the last time I checked. Of course, Panzer Dragoon Saga will bump anybody's collection.
Oh yeah, that's a big boost.
But anyway, what's cool is let me get into that. They did a little bit of details on a panel. The Sonic the Hedgehog will include the rare Mega Play arcade version. And what that is, example of how the game differs is the Mega Play replaces all the extra life monitors. I don't know what that is. I don't ever remember that. Thunder Force 4 will include Sticks mode. It's the ship from the Saturn port of Thunder Force 3. It'll have online leaderboards. Phantasy Star will have the features from the PlayStation 2 Sega Ages Collection version, including options with walk speed, difficulty setting. You could toggle the FM sound on it, which is really cool. And there'll be all kinds of things. I wondered if it was going to be that version from the Sega Ages or if it was going to be the remake that they did on PlayStation 2 in Japan where they redid the graphics. Yeah, where they redid the graphics and stuff. Yeah, but you could flip back and forth with it to go original, but I'm guessing that's not it. They haven't released a whole lot other than Game Ground is the arcade version, and Alex Kidd in Miracle World. I'm awesome to see that. What's funny is these will be out in 2018. They already have a website up. They will be out They will start coming out this summer, which is hilarious. This is kind of like our Nintendo Virtual Console, but Sega games, and Virtual Console is still not out yet by Nintendo.
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, I mean, we've seen it already with SNK arcade games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've done a lot of those SNK games. So, but I was super excited. There's going to be 15 of them, is my understanding.
But they're going to announce them in chunks, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're going to come out staggered, probably. I don't know how many will be out this summer. I'm hoping they don't do 5 at one time. And charge. I don't remember how much I can't remember how much they are a piece on the 3DS. I want to say they're $7 or $8 each. They may be less than that, maybe $6. I don't remember. I bought every one of them though on the 3DS, and then they brought out the collection. That's probably what they'll do here, but I want to play them now. But yeah, so that's super cool to have those games coming to the Switch, and they're different than the ones coming out on PS4 and Xbox One on that collection. What
would be neat is if with the Game Ground, if there was an option to have the stand the Switch up vertically.
Yeah.
So it could be like Arcade True or whatever.
Oh, I bet there is, because with that Punch Out that came out, you can do that with it. You can set it up on the side.
You?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
I am 99% sure if anybody could make it the way any gamer wants it, it's M2. They did. I'm telling you, that 3DS collection of Genesis games is flipping outstanding.
I'll have to check that out because I do like some of the classic Sega games now.
Yeah, they have. I think it's got Revenge Shinobi on it. Of course, Sonic, Streets of Rage. And they are awesome. I don't. You can play them in 3D if you want. I don't usually play them in 3D, but they are. I mean, they are pixel perfect, but yet have modern feels to them that are just. It's so hard to explain. All I gotta say is, if you find it for under $20, buy it. It's totally.
I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But yeah, so Sega that night, oh my gosh, it was just kind of like Sega came out in the first 20 minutes and did their little opening thing and said, "This is what we got. This is what's coming out this year." And walked off stage. It's like, and
got the mic.
Yep, my wife is watching something on TV. I'm watching it on my iPhone, and I'm over in the corner just going, "Oh my god!" So yeah, I was super stoked and super excited. So yeah, and that's the thing too with that just hit me with Shenmue 2, $29.99. You get 20% off that if you pre-order it on Amazon when it comes up. Shoot, that's under $25. So
yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, I'm all over that for both copies. But sticking with the Sega, the Sega vibe. Last night, Crits posted on Twitter. I'd seen him posting things about 6 months ago that he was working on a wireless controller for the Genesis. But that was all I knew, and he has made this from scratch. Designed the board, designed everything. and it looks exactly like the 6-button controller. It's $65. You could get it in classic black or transparent smoke gray. It comes in a nice little box with the adapter and everything like that. But it is a wireless controller for the Genesis Mega Drive. It uses low power consumption, so the battery power will last up to 150 hours of gameplay on one charge.
That's pretty impressive.
That is very impressive. Power saving mode, the battery discharge time mode, if it's on or if it's got a charge for over a year, so no activity, blah, blah, blah. Quick response, no input lag. It said response time is around 2.7 milliseconds, which is pretty good. There's a special compatibility mode with Genesis 3-button and Sega Master System controllers. Some games don't work properly with 6-button controllers. That is absolutely correct. If you plug in a copy of Forgotten Worlds in your Genesis with a 6-button controller, it will not work. You put it in, it boots up, it starts to play the thing, you hit the button to play the game, and then it immediately goes, and it just crashes because you have to turn the 6-button controller off and only use the 3-button. This has some compatibility mode built into it that it takes that out, and you don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
You don't have to worry about turning it on and off. It uses a Nokia battery, and I know everybody's seen them that had the old Nokia flip phones that were the little square battery or the candy bar phones. I know them because I worked in the cell phone industry when those were big, so I've seen thousands of them. And they can be replaced, so you just take the battery, you just take the controller back off the controller, you can put a new Nokia battery in there if the battery ever goes bad. So that's super cool. And there's special features with it that work with, if you have the flash drives or the flash carts that he has. There's actually a download where you could put a bin file on your flash card that you can boot up, and it'll tell you how much your signal strength on your controller and how much battery power you have in it through the Genesis, which is pretty cool.
I wonder what would it show. I wonder if there's an overlay where you could show button inputs, because I know like a lot of speedrunners and stuff do like button input overlays.
It may. I don't know. This is a separate bin file, so I'm guessing it wouldn't show it over games. It would just show it. You could just check it real quick.
Go to the menu or whatever.
Go to the menu, boot it up, and then go okay, and then go. But there's a Master System mode. If you hold mode start and B for 3 seconds, it'll switch so you can do the compatibility with Sega Master System games. It's a really, really cool controller for $65. And to me, he brought it out at a really good time because you got Retrobit, who showed off their controllers, and he's got his out before them. Kritz is known for quality. If you ever buy any of his flash cards, they are super nice, super well built, and they look sharp. And I have a feeling that this lives up to his standards in controllers. I think with shipping it was 70. I think it was 71 or 72. He's over in Russia, so it takes time to get them. And he also said that they will be available on Stone Age Gamer as well. I'm sure Stone Age Gamer will probably put about 12 different things with it, spruce up the box, and charge about $30 more. But hey, whatever. That's what Stone Age Gamers likes to do with those things. And I'm glad they're here. They're right up the road in Ohio, so I won't complain. But I just wanted to pass the word along that a lot of people probably didn't even know that this came out. It makes me. I have the old RF wireless controller over here for the Genesis. Those sell online for about $70. I'm really tempted to sell them and just buy this one until Retrobit comes out with theirs, and we'll see what Retrobit has. But definitely cool. Yeah, it's definitely cool, and it's something that beat a big name market, officially licensed people to the market with. So as always. This one's kind of a little PSA. I know a lot of people don't realize that the Sega Master System controller had a joystick mod to it. If you had a first release controller, you could pull out the center of the D-pad. There was a little plug in there, and it had a little screw hole in it. Well, if you'd bought the system new, it came with 2 little joysticks about yay tall, little pieces of plastic that you could screw in the top. And what this did was, instead of using your thumb on the D-pad, you put your thumb on that stick, and it was more accurate. And it worked a whole lot better. That was how I always played my Sega Master System. When I got mine when I was a little kid, so I put them on there. I never took them off. It was hard for me to go to an NES because I didn't have this little joystick under my thumb. And a lot of times I was always like, I want this joystick under my thumb. But those are super, super hard to find and super, super rare because a lot of people either A, didn't know about them, or B, broke them and just threw them in the trash, or they got, who knows where they ended up. But there's vacuum or whatever. But there's a guy I met on Twitter, Cliff Repair Corner. His name's Cliff. That he actually, he was 3D printing Transformer heads. He was finding broken Transformers and would go online and find the Transformers heads, print them, and put them on the old figures. And I said, hey, you have a 3D printer, or you do 3D printing. Is there any way you could make a joystick for a Sega Master System? I said, somebody has got to be printing these. This is something that people want. I saw a brand new pair still in the plastic, 2 pair in a little plastic bag that they came in, still stapled, on eBay, and they wanted $70 for them.
Jeez.
And I went, no, that's stupid. So he went online, bought a controller that had the joystick in it, got it in, 3D modeled it himself, and had it sent off and printed, and he just got them in, and they look fantastic. The plastic that he chose is not the same, so it's more of a rough plastic than the smooth plastic of the ones. But
like
you
a
can,
matte finish.
yeah, like a matte finish. But that's something where he gets them printed that he could choose what finish he wants on them. But anyway, if that's something that you're interested in, I am definitely interested in. He's working on a website right now, but you can follow him on Twitter. It's Cliff's Repair Core, COR. He couldn't get corner. But if you follow him on Twitter, send him a message and tell him that you want one, or what a set, or 1 or 2, and he will get you set up with where to get them at. The thing about it is the parts will probably be super cheap. The shipping's probably what will cost more than the parts do.
I'd imagine so.
But you know what? I would much rather pay maybe $7-8 for a set than pay somebody $60 for a real one. I mean, that's just silly. But I'm super excited because that's the one thing I've always hated about the Sega Master System is the D-pad controller was not cool. It was very hard to play with.
It's my second biggest gripe with the console. Yeah, it's squishy. It feels weird. You end up hitting diagonals when you don't mean to. It's because it's square. It's just it's not natural. And see, my Master System controller is a 2nd gen where they put the cord placement on the top of the controller and they took that screw hole out of the D-pad. So I don't even have the ability to. So I would have to get a 1st gen one, which from what you've told me is the way to go.
Oh, yeah, it is totally the way to go. Because I remember after I got rid of my system, so many people were like, that bought them again later. They were like, man, the D-pad sucks. And I'm like, well, I don't ever remember having any problems with the D-pad.
Sure. Because you always had the little nub.
Always had the nub in there. So you could take that nub and your point left, point up, point down, point right, and it just made it more precise the way it tilted the D-pad. Right. It was perfect. But it's like me and you talked last night. The reason why they had to do that was because Nintendo had that patent on the best D-pad you could buy, and if you weren't Nintendo, you couldn't have it.
It is such a good D-pad, too.
Yeah.
It is such a good D-pad. The NES, SNES D-pad,
yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, and it took until that patent ran out, and then everybody could go, well, now we could do a D-pad. It was perfect. But that little joystick was really, really cool because, like I said, at first it felt weird because you had this ball, it was about the size of the end of this pen I have in my hand.
Right.
That you had this ball on your thumb, but you think about it, you're going like this with it. Just like a joystick, but you're just using your thumb instead of your whole hand. You're just using that thumb. And it really made it more precise. So I highly recommend checking him out if you want a set of them. You can follow the show notes, find the link in the show notes directly to the tweet. Or, like I said, you can track him down on Twitter there. I can't repeat the thing because I don't have it in front of me now, but his link. hot off the presses. I put this in, it just came out so quick that I didn't even know it. The Nintendo Insider magazine, which I have a subscription to, said they had big news from Limited Run Games that was coming out today. Their digital issues were coming out. I didn't get my digital issue. I think my email box was full, so I'm going to have to email them. But anyway, they announced in that magazine that Night Trap was coming out to the Nintendo Switch. Which is
such a bizarre one.
I know, but it is so cool, and I didn't get a chance to buy it on PS4 when they did the physical disc. They sent us a review code, but I didn't have time to review it, so one of the other guys on the site did. So I haven't played it, but I wanted to buy a physical copy of it on the PS4 just because it was so bad of a game back in the day that I wanted it. But Limited Run did it. It was a very short print. And now that it's coming out on the Switch, I'll actually be able to get a copy of it because they're standard 2-week or open for pre-orders. So I'll definitely pre-order it just to have it. I probably will play it one time and I will never play it again. But yeah, so Night Trap is coming to a Nintendo console, even though 30 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever said that, what's his name? Yeah, that what's his name got up in front of everybody and said, "We will never have Night Trap on a Nintendo system."
Yeah, I want to know what he thinks about all this.
Yeah, I know. He's probably just like, son of a gun, is that thing still a thing?
And, I can't even think of his name right now.
I can't either.
And I'm going to kick myself when I figure it out. But
yeah. But yeah, so that's really cool. That totally came out of left field. I did not see that one coming. I didn't think anything about it. I never figured that it was
so bizarre.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. But you know what? I gotta have it. I've gotta have it because I remember playing that game as a kid, and it was.
See, I've never played it. I'm very much aware of it with its huge social relevance. That and Mortal Kombat was a big part of why we have the ESRB today.
Yep. So yeah, it's so corny and dumb, but you know what? It's for me.
Campy,
well, it's campy, and for me, that's okay because, like I said, I remember being I think I was in high school. It was '93. I graduated in '94, so I remember, playing that game, going down to the rental store and renting it and trying it out, and thinking, "What is this crap?" But Bitmap Books announced. The 16th is when they announced it, that they are going to go to Kickstarter again, as they usually do, for their Continuum books. I've talked about them on here, the NES and the Super NES one that they've sent me for review. They are doing the Master System one next.
Yeah, so, this one I will probably get. I've gotten some interest in the Master System in recent years, and it's a really cool system that I hate that I missed out on. Yeah. And I'll definitely be getting that. Yeah,
so the Kickstarter will be up May 7th. I am no doubt in my mind that they will hit that goal, whatever their goal is, the first day. They always do.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I know they'll send me a review copy. They send me a review copy of every one of their books. And they come from England. They are super well packed. They are so cool. They're such cool books. And they usually have a nice little slip case with the little reflective, I don't know what you call it, the little hologrammy like thing on there.
Sure.
But yeah, it's totally cool. And apparently, hopefully, if they get the go ahead, the next one will be a Genesis one.
Nice.
Which will be cool. So I'm sure we'll do another show before the 7th, but I wanted to get that out there, that if you're interested in something, you're interested in a book, especially a Master System book, it will be out. The Kickstarter will be up the 7th, so go check it out. Bitmapbooks.com is their website. Last but not least, yesterday, Sync is going to release a Neo Geo Classic Edition to mark the 40th anniversary of Neo Geo.
It's just SNK, John. It's just SNK.
I know. It's just SNK. But I still call them Sync because that's the way I called them when I was a child. So, yeah, we didn't know any better back then. Everything had to be something. It didn't have, you couldn't just have 3 letters for your name. But all they said was they were going to have a release. At some point they were going to announce it. They haven't said that. All they said was they were going to be jumping on the Classic Edition bandwagon. We don't know if it's going to be a mini Neo Geo console that's like the Super NES Mini and or Classic and the NES Classic. They did the
Neo Geo X Gold.
Yeah, the X Gold. Yeah, they did that a couple years ago, and it didn't go over real well. But I don't know if they make a little. I don't know how they would do that. Would it be a little Neo Geo with the little arcade sticks with the little 6 buttons and a small little joystick, or would it be what would the controllers be? Would it be a little system with a great big controller, or would it be a?
I would think that would have to be the way to go. I think it would have to be either they're going to do another portable like they did with the Neo Geo X Gold, or they'll put it out similar to how the other classics, how Nintendo has done theirs with the original controller. Just in this case, it would be essentially an arcade stick.
Yeah, and that would be cool if they would bring it out and it would look like the arcade, maybe smaller, but look like the arcade stick that came with the Neo Geo system. That would be awesome. I would get that.
But gotta have those micro switch clicky buttons.
Yeah, exactly.
That's important.
Yeah. And, nobody knows what games it's going to have on it. I'm sure it'll have Fatal Fury. It'll have King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown.
Magician Lord.
Yeah, Magician Lord.
Neo Turf Masters.
Turf Masters.
Metal Slug.
Metal Slug. That's the one I was trying to think of, was Metal Slug. But, it was just a tweet that came out from SNK Japan. It was just very, all it said was, this is what we're going to do. And that was it. It didn't really say any other things other than we're going to dip our toe in the market too, because that's the thing to do right now.
Well, I mean, if it sells, it sells, man. I mean, seeing a lot of success if you do it right.
Yeah, and it'll definitely sell in Japan.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that is where the SNK market is at, and there will be those hardcore fans around the world that will buy it too. But
sure.
I'll buy one if the price is right and it's good quality. As long as At Games doesn't have anything to do with it, I'm okay. About anybody else.
At Games.
Poor old At Games. But that's all I've got. I figured we were going to go long enough with just all this news that came out this week.
Yeah,
that
it's a very Sega-centric episode.
It really is, and I am so happy that I've always been a big Sega fan, and to get so many Sega announcements out this week, it's like, oh my gosh, Sega is actually listening to fans. This is insane. This is the world's going to end. Something's not right.
That would be like Konami all of a sudden deciding not to be crappy.
Yeah, all of a sudden
like,
get out of the.
We're going to give you Castlevania. We're going to give you a new Metal Gear Solid. And guess what? We're bringing Kojima back.
Yeah. And we're not going to make Pinko machines anymore. We're actually going to make video games.
Oh jeez.
Oh Lord. But yeah, so that's awesome. It's good to see Sega doing things again, other than just licensing out games to other companies, other than that games. But but yeah, so that was our Sega news episode.
It was a Sega extravaganza.
Yeah, really. Oh my gosh. So, Danny, you got anything going on this week before we sign off?
Oh man, I don't know, dude. Just I'm not going to be streaming as much. I'm not going to be doing my Tuesday episode on Tuesday anymore for a couple of weeks because my options are limited to Super Nintendo essentially.
Okay. But you're still going to be doing some streams.
Yeah, I'll be doing some streaming here and there, but I'm going to be busy packing, so it may be spotty.
Yeah, okay, cool. So. Well, and I'd hoped to stream some this week, but being down with my back, I haven't been able to get down here. This is the first time in a week I've been down in the basement at all. I'm just glad there wasn't like a foot of water down here and I didn't know about it because I couldn't walk down the steps. But I'm hoping maybe if my back feels up to it tomorrow, maybe doing some kind of stream, and then we'll have the regular podcast Sunday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But other than that, I think we've touched on all the retro and new news that you can that you can come up with.
Stick at.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's kind of been an interesting week for old stuff coming back new and new stuff coming back old, or however you want to look at it. So.
What a time to be alive.
I know, it is, isn't it? All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening and downloading wherever you get podcasts at. You can follow me on Twitter at JCMeadows94. Danny is on Twitter at DPadDanny. Check out Danny's Twitch page, twitch.tv/DPadDanny. And you can always email us your questions, retro@the-gamer-lounge.com. And check out the site. That is the same way that I'm not going to say it again. So like I say, subscribe or follow us on Twitch if you'd like to join us live in the chat room. I know there's a few of you here tonight, kind of quiet, but that's all right. There's some people here checking out the show live, and that's fine. Hang out ask us questions live. It's always a cool thing. So
absolutely, we're open to topic ideas as well.
Absolutely, because we're going to run out of topics here before long. Unless Sega keeps coming out with news all the time, then we'll be covered for a year the way things are
just
going.
Be a Sega podcast.
Yeah,
for now.
Really. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much again, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care.
Let's see. It was about an hour and 5 minutes. Huh?
Yeah.